Welcome to KPI Fire. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to manage metrics and KPIs in the KPI Dashboard. You'll notice that there's a gauge icon on the home screen as well as in the menu up above. You can click on the gauge icon to open up the KPI Dashboard. This is a page where you can view all of your company's key performance indicators and metrics in one location and get clear line of sight between how your projects and goals are impacting your metrics. You'll notice that each of the metrics is represented by a light blue tile. Let's look at how we can create metrics and how we can link metrics together in a way that makes sense for our organization. The first level of metrics, or level 1 metrics you are looking at, are typical for a company: revenue, cost, customer satisfaction, and so forth. If you wanted to create a new metric, you would simply go into edit mode, click create new metric, click on create, leave edit mode, and now you've got a new metric called new metric. You'll notice that there's no data in the metric yet, and that's why the chart is blank. Let's dive into a metric that's already been created. I can expand the cost metric by clicking the expand button on the top right. Once inside the cost metric, I can look at several things. I can look at what projects are supporting this metric, ideas, active projects, and completed projects. I can also look at supporting initiatives, which we don't have any here. We'll add one in just a second. I can look at the annual performance of my metric, how well I'm doing to date, the month-by-month performance. I can also click on the bar chart here to look at quarter-by-quarter performance, and I can click on the circle or donut chart to look at the progress I'm making on my projects that support this metric. Over on the right above the month-by-month chart, you'll see several options. Clicking on this button shows you the month-by-month chart. Clicking on this view shows you your quarter-by-quarter goals. Clicking on this button allows you to enter data manually to this metric. This is an easy way to get started, but as you start using KPI Fire, you'll want to use our API to connect your databases to KPI Fire and push data to these metrics so that they automatically update from your existing ERP system or other databases such as your shop floor management system. The next set of buttons is basically a units menu. You can select whether it is dollars, simply a number value, or a percentage that you're looking at. When you do this, it will change the look over in the annual performance graph. Dollars, simple number, or percent. The next buttons are goal type. Changing the goal type is similar to changing between playing basketball and playing golf. If I'm playing basketball, my goal is to get as high a score as possible. So I click greater than, meaning I want my current actual value to be greater than my goal. If I click the less than button, that means I'm playing a game like golf, or in this case, I'm managing costs. I want my cost to be lower than my cost target ceiling, so I would click the less than button in this case. If I were working on revenue, for example, I would click on the greater than button. The next button is the Sum Children button. What this allows you to do is to populate this chart and these graphs from other metrics that are linked to the cost metric. For example, your cost may be made up of material costs, labor costs, overhead costs. If you want to sum up those costs into a higher level cost metric, you would click on this button. As you can see, the chart changed because now this chart is being populated from metrics that are below the cost metric. The final set of buttons are data mode. Data mode means if you're tracking a metric where adding up month-by-month values such as revenue, sales, or cost makes sense, you can click on the sum button here, which will add up the months as you go along. If you're looking at something like a customer or employee satisfaction survey where it doesn't make sense to add up the data month after month, you can click the target button. What this does is looks at the month-by-month score and tells you how you're performing each month. They're mutually exclusive, so you cannot sum children if you're in target mode because target mode wouldn't make sense to add up the data. From inside the expanded view, you can also change the name of the metric, change the owner, and change the department that owns the metric. Let's now drill down into a submetric. The tiles are organized like a hierarchy or tree, so I can take the cost metric and drill down into submetrics below the cost metric by clicking on the gauge icon. You can see that below costs we have labor costs and material costs. If I wanted to add another metric below that, I could click on the Create Metric button and create a new metric called overhead costs, for example. As you can see, the tile is highlighted in light blue, which means it is already linked. When I leave edit mode, now I have 3 metrics under my cost metric: labor, material, and overhead. These are level 2 metrics that support the level 1 metric. Let's say now that my team wants to work on a project that will improve material costs. I can click on the project icon, and you can see that I have 2 projects underneath the material cost metric that support that metric. Let's say I want to create a new project that's going to support the material cost metric. I enter edit mode, click create new project, create the project, and then click the link button, which highlights that idea in orange, showing that it is now linked to the material cost metric. When I leave edit mode, you'll now see 3 tiles instead of 2. My new project is 0% complete, but is linked to the material cost metric. If I want to work on this project, I simply click the expand button, which takes me to the charter. I can activate the project, select a department and a workflow, and start working on the tasks necessary to complete this project. As you can see, using KPI Fire's KPI Dashboard, it's easy for you to keep track of all of your metrics in real time. You can view your Level 1, Level 2, and Level 3 metrics on your PC or iPad from anywhere. KPI Fire also makes it easy to see how your projects directly impact your metrics, so your team will know that when they complete a project, they've had a direct impact on what matters to the company. To learn more about KPI Fire's features and benefits, check out our other tutorials, and don't forget to sign up for a free 30-day trial.